Hey, Shalom, Barakatha YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM QADASH, the ones of the apostles, bishops, elders of great millstone. Shalom, true brothers in the highways and byways, doing the works sincerely and faithfully, continually fighting that good fight of faith. Lord willing, we're finding that number to be delivered. All right. So I'm gonna base this off of the street ministries of the apostles and bishops today, and the main point I want to talk about is when Elder Apostle Taha asked Bishop Sakaran to inquire of chat what Great Millstone's take was on the multiple wives thing, right? Now, what's interesting is that it gave a great understanding of what our position was, right? And if you listen to that, that testimony, right? It's genuine. There was no frills. There was no gimmicks. It was a straightforward question, and it gave a straightforward answer. All right. And at the end of the day, the answer that was given should have, and it should be, very appealing to a lot of men who are looking for the truth. All right. And basically, it broke it down to say, Great Millstone's position is, this isn't the time to try to indulge in having many wives. You see? But again, Jake is a peculiar people, especially Israelite men. Israelite men try to conquer as many women as they possibly can. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but to be in this ministry and to be doing this work, you got to know that, listen, there's a time and a place for all this. And right now, we're not in that time period. All right? So let's get a couple scriptures and go from there. This is 1 Corinthians 6:12. It says, all things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. Now, is it lawful according to the law to have, multiple wives? Absolutely. Being in this truth. Absolutely. But the time that we're living in, is it expedient to do so? Absolutely not. All right. And chat pretty much gave a great, understanding of what our position was and why. All right. And now, mind you, keep in mind, we're not sitting around going to chat and typing in what our dislikes are, what our likes are, what we believe. All right. Now, Chat GPT is also like those data centers. It collects a lot of data. It even has access to our videos that we put up. And it goes through that whole data process where it's taking bits and pieces here. All right. But all in all, we're not the ones who are inputting, so to say, into Chat GPT what our positions are. All right. And that's what makes us, so much more, authentic, because if anybody decides they're going to inquire to Chat GPT about anything of Great Millstone, it's going to give it to you outside of the men of Great Millstone inputting it in the system, if that makes sense. All right. So again, when this whole question was asked, you got to ask yourself, damn, it was a genuine response from Chat GPT. That must mean what? The apostles are doing nothing but trying to help you understand. All right. So again, all things are not expedient. All right. So it's not expedient to try to, get you 4 or 5 wives in this time period that we're living in. And if the Lord has blessed you with one wife, then that's what you ride out with, your one wife. Now again, we're Israelite men. But the more women you have, the more distracted you're going to be. All right? Let's continue on. This is Proverbs 6:25. It says, lust not after the beauty in thy heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. All right? And talking about these women. Jake see a girl and you looking at her, she looking back, The first thing that Jake does, oh shit, the way she's looking at me, I'm gonna go get that. You know? And again, these women, which we used to call back in the day, a dime piece, they're the worst ones. They're the worst ones. They're the worst traps you can possibly get around. Because it's that beauty that's going to captivate you. And then she's going to start to looking and blinking all in your face. And next thing you know, you all fucking mushy inside. Right? So again, when you come into this truth, most men got a woman in this truth. A good portion of men lose their women because of the truth. All right. And those women who stay with their men, okay, coming up through the ranks in this truth, they have also been, put into, so to say, put into hell, so to say. Because now, as the man, you don't do the things that you used to do. And as a matter of fact, you don't have any goddamn interests in the things that you used to do. All right? So your woman's probably looking at you all sideways like, well, damn, what about me? She's just going to have to hold on tight until the Lord brings us up out of here. All right? Let me get this. 1 Corinthians 7. Let me start at verse 32. And it says, but I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried care for the things that belongeth unto the Lord, how he may please the Lord. All right? And like I just said, when you come into this thing with your woman and your woman continues to dwell with you, you are now in a position as if you're unmarried. Because everything that you used to do with your woman, all these things that you had fun, all, going on, trips or cruises or whatever, that now ceases. And in our mindset is like, all right, you kind of give that like, shit, I ain't married. I ain't in a relationship, because you're doing the work to please YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. You see? And these are the things which ChatGPT was getting into. How the men of Great Millstone, from the head apostles on down, were not into trying to be, Mr. House, Mr., playing house guy here, trying to build that beautiful, family in this kingdom. We all scraping to get by. And again, being in this truth, your relationship with your wife ain't as strong as it was before you came into the truth. All right? So it says, verse 33, but he that is married care for the things that are of the world, and how he may please his wife. And this is what happens when you get you try to get another wife. All right? You're going to try to courtship her. You want to take her out. You want to go to a movie. You want to do all these things that are pleasing unto her, making her feel good, making her feel like, damn, he's making me feel special. You see? And this is where a lot of men fall to the wayside. And again, if you got a woman that's a dime or a bad chick, beautiful, you best believe you're going to be like, yeah, I want that. I'm going to do what I got to do. All right? But all in all, you're not going to be able to please that woman, because what you're doing in the beginning in this relationship, or this, this whole meeting up thing, yeah, you're going to take her out, get her a nice meal, but you ain't going to be able to keep that shit up too long, because there's work to do. Right? And trying to, fake the funk on that end, pleasing her and making her feel all good, something's got to give. All right? So again, but he that is married care for the things that are of the world. All right? How he may please his wife. And that's what it's all about here in Babylon. The women have to be pleased. The women have to be taken care of. The women got to be first. That's the Babylonian way. All right? And now let's say you pull it, you got the woman, and now you're submerged in this truth, what do you think she gonna do? She out of here. She ain't hanging around. Because this thing of ours isn't meant to be put to the side to courtship a beautiful woman. And she gonna realize that this truth is more important than she is. So she gonna hit the road. And oh well, see you later. All right? She gonna be up out of there. It's a Sirach 25 and 21. It says, stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. Right? And these women are a stumbling block. You know, especially the ones who are beautiful. Who got that flawless looking skin. Smelling all good. Looking all tender. That's nothing but a stumbling block. Because now you're sitting there talking about, damn, I gotta take this girl out. You know, she want to do this. She wants to go here. Now she talking about she want to go on a cruise. Yeah, it's just too much, man. It's too much. The time is going to come where these women are going to come running. All right? And it's going to be at our discretion who comes through the door and who stays outside the door. All right? Because as it is written, Isaiah 4:1, 7 women. They're gonna come running, man. And at this time, you know, trying to, you know, smash and dash and all these, you don't have the desire anymore. You know, technically, you know, we've become eunuchs for YAHAWASHI's sake, for the pushing of this word. You know, so these women gonna have to take a back seat, man. And to those who truly trust and believe in YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, you know, just continue doing what you're doing. And may the Lord have mercy on you and carry you through. All right? But for those who are on the outside, you know, they're still of the world. They want to be a part of the world. They want to be treated and recognized in the world. Stay away from them. Staying clear. Because they're nothing but a stumbling block. As it is written here, stumble not at the beauty of a woman. Many men through the years that we've been around, you know, us brothers who've come in 2008, 2009 in that time, 2007, right in that time period, many of men have left this truth because they didn't want to lose their woman. All right? So these women are a stumbling block. Like I said earlier, when chat was going through the position of Great Millstone, you know what? That was sound advice. GMS's, you know, take is, listen, don't try to be, you know, Mr., you know, Cleaver, you know, trying to build a house and build a happy home here. America's about to be destroyed. And before it gets destroyed, all hell's going to break loose. What do you think is going to happen when they shut these stores down, shut the banks down, shut your bank account off? Right? What you think is going to happen? You think these women are going to be sitting there talking about, can you take me to Red Lobster or you know, pork belly clam shack? So they're going to look at you for one or two things. To be a financial provider, or somebody who's just going to put them on a pedestal. But when all hell breaks loose, we're going to find out. You know, these women are going to find out. It says, first, Ezra 4:26, it says, yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and have become servants for their sake. And that's another thing. You get a beautiful girl, all of a sudden, you start going crazy. Talking about who you talking to, where you at, who you with. Let me see your phone. Why you down there? Nah, you ain't going over there. You know? That's how some of these men get down. They start going crazy. You know, the woman let you, put the finishing touches on her, you service her up, and the cats just don't know how to act. But again, we of the hopeful elect, the Lord has set our minds in a different direction. Our mind is for pushing the word of YAHAWASHI. Our mindset is to, be found worthy to see the fall of our enemy. Okay? And again, ain't nobody looking to have a desire to have 4 and 5 wives running around. It's just too goddamn much, man. Matter of fact, let me get this here. This is 1 Corinthians 7:28. It says, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she have not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I shall spare you. All right? So having one woman is troublesome. The one woman you have, you do the best around the home to try to make sure everything's squared away as the head of the house. But she's still looking at you sideways. Can you imagine having 3 wives, 4 wives? Having to deal like that? It's draining, man. It'll drain you. Okay? So as we have been told, you'll have trouble in the flesh. Deal with the one woman that the Lord has given you and let that be that. Let that be that. Because a lot of people don't believe that the Lord is going to come back and really put a zapping on this place. You might be out there with that beautiful girl right when all hell breaks loose. Then what you going to do? Okay? But I just wanted to hit a couple of those quick points. ChatGPT had broke it down and the position of Great Millstone from the head apostles on down. And this is how we see it. We're looking to usher in the coming of our Lord YAHAWASHI. We're not looking to, fancy a woman, because she looked good, or because, we have the ability to have multiple wives. And this is another thing that Jake does when they come into this truth. They use this truth as a platform to justify why they can have many wives. Okay? And these are those who come in greedy for women, looking to score as many women as they possibly can. And also these are those who also fall to the wayside. All right? So be mindful. The men of Great Millstone from the head apostles on down. Edification is always coming out. Good advice is always coming out. And it's not about games and gimmicks. All right? So Lord willing, I'm going to see you, brother. Another one, I'm going to say shalom for now.